Hey everyone, welcome back to Shaping Sapiens. I'm your host, Amelia Torres, and today's episode is very special for me. I'm interviewing my aunt, my Tia Stephanie from Boerne, Texas. And as a kid, you kind of always look up to your aunts and uncles, and you never really think that one day you'll be on the same adult level as them. So it's kind of cool when you finally get here and you can talk about everything. My aunt means so many things to me, but I think for most people who know her, they would say that she epitomizes strength and courage, and not just because she's going through breast cancer. What you'll hear is a conversation that takes place just a few hours after receiving a chemotherapy treatment. I wasn't even sure if she'd be up for it, but after we got home, she went into her room and came back out, freshly dressed, makeup on, and a bright, colorful hair turban in place, and said, "Let's do it." So, without further ado, please welcome my aunt, Stephanie Jensen Garza. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Amelia. It's very kind. That lifts me up a lot.
Oh,
That's why we have such a good relationship. Thank you.
thank you. So, you have tears in your eyes. Tell me what's going on today. Where are we in this moment in time?
Well, today I received my 6th chemotherapy treatment. I'm receiving treatments for breast cancer. You were able to take me today, which meant a lot. It proved to be not such a hard day after all. I would say my life in the past, since November, has changed. I had a surgery, actually my 7th surgery for breast cancer. Was unsure that I wanted to do the surgery, but had to. And since then, I've been healing, going to a lot of appointments, and coming to terms with having breast cancer for the 3rd time. It started in 2007, then I had it in 2012. I didn't think it would ever come back, and it did. I go to these appointments always with a positive mind and a positive attitude. And I would say today epitomized just getting up and going and doing it and believing in health and trusting everybody that I came in contact with. So though I am going through a time of what may seem very difficult, I gained strength from it.
So what was a highlight from today? We got there and...
It just started right away as soon as I woke up. I was able to get up on time. I have the strength, the wherewithal to get dressed, to face the day. And the moment I do that, the moment I know that I can do that, I'm set. We can get in the car together, go down the highway, no problems getting there, greet the nurses and share any kind of positivity I can with them. And each time I do that, I feel a small success.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then when the actual treatment comes, I've set myself up for success.
And success to you means?
Well, with so many diagnoses for 8 or 9 years, success is overcoming hardship within yourself.
I've seen so many comments on Facebook from family and friends, and they'll say, "Steph, you're so courageous, you're so brave, you're strong, you can do it, I believe in you." On a typical day, what is that for you?
Well, that has ebbs and flows. I feel good today because I feel like I accomplished something. So that's what you'll hear from me today, from my heart today. When I send messages on Facebook, I wait until I'm not crying. I don't come on and say, "This is horrible and I don't like it, and I'm really hurting here." In those moments, I pray a lot and bring myself back around to strength. It's not that I don't think people can help me through the weak moments. It's that there are so many of them, they would just overwhelm the whole situation. And I've made a conscious choice to live louder in my strong moments.
I love that. I've made a conscious choice to live louder in my stronger moments.
And it builds me up more.
Wow.
It helps me more. It's not to not give any credence to the part where I do cry. I do have another sister who I share that with, and she listens to me. She really listens, and I say, thanks for listening. And she says, yep, I want to know.
So tell us about where you're from and where you grew up.
I was born in Wisconsin. All of my relatives live in Wisconsin. Danish and Norwegian, mom and dad. Lived 9 places by the time I was 9 years old, and ended up growing up on a farm in Iowa. Very busy, very strong work ethic. Our dad taught us that. Our mom taught us that. A clean house and fields that corn and bean and hay that were successful in. Corralling cattle at a very young age, things just way outside of the box where mom and dad were trying to teach us about life and the land.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you love the most about living on a farm?
I would say that I didn't know it until I left, but the smell of the earth and the clean air, just the beauty of the fields, just the beauty. It took us, it was 5 miles outside of town on a gravel road. When I got old enough to drive, then we would drive ourselves in, which they're still doing. My nieces and nephews, when they get to 14, they can drive the car in town if they're in a sport or they have work. But now I look back, and I was involved in quite a few things. I was a competitive swimmer from the age of 9 till I was 18. I was also in band and played the alto saxophone.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Jazz band, and I was I got to play solos. Was taught how to do that. I was in student council. I was in choir. We had one of the finest teachers in choir that produced many talented singers because he was so demanding of us. It seems to be a theme in my life, to be your best.
Yeah, people pushing you to be your best.
Yes, yes.
And my aunt has one of the most amazing voices. And I loved what you told me, I think this morning or last night, that even though you're here in this place in your life right now where you feel broken or down, but what was it you said about your voice?
Well, I found myself singing some songs, and I was very surprised and happy that that part of me isn't broken.
I love that so much.
Just realized it. I just really thought that my whole self, all these things that I've been talking about, and these things that are so important to me.
Yeah.
I may not be able to do at my greatest level of strength, but I'm still able to sing.
Yeah.
And that's so important. I was going to say it's a trick, but it's not a trick. It's a manner of thinking that can help you through very difficult times. What is it that I can do, that I can accomplish still, that is me?
I love that. What is it that I can still do and accomplish that's me?
Me. So that I don't feel completely lost.
Right.
At the beginning of us talking, I'm just talking about being sick and going to this appointment. And I've been sick since '07. But really, I stood in front of this collage on the wall the other day with my son, and he had mentioned that the T-shirt that he had on said 2006, and that was right before everything went down. And I thought, oh, I know what he means. He means that's right before I was sick and sort of remained sick for these past 9 years. And I took a few days to think about it, and I brought him back over to the picture this last weekend, and I said, come here just for a minute. I know that you said that, but I hope you know that I am still able to be a part of your life. And then I came up with my own list. I can come to your swim meets. I can take pictures. I can make movies of your year that you had.
And she loves taking pictures, by the way.
Yes.
Anytime I come over, anytime family comes over, you're always like, okay, we have to take a picture. I've always noticed that throughout my life, my whole life since I've known, especially these past 8 years, that you have this, the word I want to say is obsession, but maybe it's borderline obsession, but like a healthy obsession where you always want to capture
that moment.
Those moments. Why is that?
They're not going to happen again.
Yeah.
One day I saw my older son, who's 18, almost going to be 19, outside, and it just came over me. I think it has something to do with my creative process and wanting to get things, or that I'm visual, that I like to see them. But I honestly thought through it within 30 seconds and said to myself, he is never going to look like that again and be petting the dog like that. He's not going to be 17 sitting there on that driveway, and I'm going to capture it.
Yeah.
And I have that picture somewhere, and it means something to me. And then I take them, I bring them together, I scan them into the computer, or they're in the computer, and there's some sense of accomplishment for me to put these memories together set to music. And it not only moves me, but it moves my family. And then they appreciate later, oh, I guess it was okay that Steph made us all stand in a circle at that moment when we were all ready to leave and take the picture. And they look back and they love that I made a movie in 2006.
Yeah.
They love that movie from 2009. They love the one of 2013.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little bit of work, but it's something in me. Maybe I should have been a photojournalist.
I think you are a photojournalist.
Yes.
You're like a family historian photojournalist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that really makes me smile. It makes me feel good.
I want to share one of my favorite memories of us. I just have this very vivid memory. You know it. When we were, I guess, driving back from Austin, and I got to sit in the front seat, and two of my cousins sat in the back, and I felt really special because I was sitting in the front with my aunt, who was so cool. Oh. And I just remember you putting in the cassette back in the day, and Don McLean's American Pie came on. And I remember you said, I sang that in college. And in that moment, it registered as, my aunt is singing. This is her singing in this song. Even though it was a man's voice, in my head, it was like, this is her. Wow, she's famous. Yes. She's famous. She sang this song. And I remember I was about 7 or 8, and I remember asking one of my cousins that was with us that day, I said, do you remember that song? It's like Miss American Pie. Do you know how it goes? And I said something about a pie, America Pie. And she said, yeah, it's Miss American Pie. And I was like, okay, I have to remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. And then years later, I remember telling you about that. And I said, that memory meant so much to me. And it's my favorite song, Miss American Pie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Music creates strong memories in the moment that stay with us. When I was young, my aunt came and she had a little old car, and we were out on the gravel road, and it was a Chevy Nova.
Oh,
we
cool.
were just all stuffed in. I don't know if the windows went up or down, but she had that cassette and played that song, and I had never heard it before.
The same song?
Yes, and sang it at the top of her lungs, and I think one of her kids was in the car, a memory that stayed with me forever. It just felt like so much joy. Wow, look at this, from singing.
Is that a moment where you thought, I would be a singer, or have you always been a singer?
I would say I always sang and emulated singers. Judy Collins, Emmylou Harris, Linda Ronstadt, Stevie Nicks, Anne Murray, Don McLean, Loretta Lynn. There's so many. Just all of these albums that my mom and dad had with the gigantic headphones just infusing into me. And I knew, I don't know how to say it, that I was a musician, that this meant so much to me. And I wondered if it meant that much to the world. That, I mean, of course, we all know how much music can move you, but it is a constant in my life. Then, so here later in my life, singing it's become more spiritual for me. And I've been called upon by very many members of church to sing at their dearest family members' funerals, and also their dearest family members' weddings.
Oh.
That's meant a lot to me. That's been a big part of my life.
So what are some songs that you sing today? Can you give us a taste?
Oh, my.
We have the mic. We have everything here. Yeah.
Bye, bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry. Them good old boys were drinking whiskey and rye, singing, this'll be the day that I die. And that is not good, I know, but it was emotional.
No, I loved it. That was the perfect. I was hoping you were going to sing that song.
Yes. Music is just so powerful. the whole, I mean, even when you're in just little and you're singing rounds, it's just so important. Or you're just listening to it while you're on the trampoline. It's so important.
And that's what brought you to Austin in the 90s, right?
I was going to be a singer.
Yeah.
That's why I came.
But you were also scoping out other places too, right?
I traveled to Nashville and I traveled to Austin, visited them both. And Austin, it was March and it was 85 degrees. And beautiful Zilker Park was laid out for me with people laying on blankets. I'd never seen anything like that growing up in the Midwest. 85 degrees in March. And I said, this is where I want to be. Went back to Kalamazoo, had a yard sale, put everything, including my bike and my cat in the back seat. I said, I'm going to Austin. And it was in the beginning of cell phones, I think. I mean, I don't really have the timeline of cell phones, but I think
Early
I had a
90s,
very big cell phone.
It was like a brick?
Yes. Yeah, Memorex, or I don't know. And it had a case. And
a briefcase?
Yeah, it was actually zip closed.
Oh my gosh.
But I had it, and I got in the car, and then I called information. I knew one person that was left down in Austin from a group of people that had come down to do construction and said, hey, you'd love it there. So I got halfway from Michigan to Austin, called this guy, just called information, got his number and said, hey, I'm moving down there.
And this is a mutual friend, right?
It's just somebody that I knew a little bit.
I like that. That works, yeah.
That I knew was there.
Yeah.
And I said, are you living in a house? Can I stay with you until I get a job? I don't have a job. I just know that I want to be there. And he said, well, let me ask my wife. And she and I are fantastic friends to this day.
Really?
Yes, Cherie just welcomed me in. She said, now, Steph, that took a lot of trust. So I moved in with them. And she has commented to this day that it took a lot for her to say, sure, come on into my house. I don't know you. But she was just very kind to me. I found my way. I got my own apartment, got a job, and ended up getting a lot of voice work because I had been a radio announcer. Then sort of entered into the music scene and worked with the Music Umbrella of Austin and got to sing at least for a year on stage at the Saxon Pub.
Wow.
Which was outside of my comfort zone, but I did it.
Yeah.
And it went well. I have those recordings and I can see my growth. How young I was. It's kind of fun to look back at that. And then I decided I needed to have a job that was, more permanent than just voice work. So I went and took that degree that I had gotten at Western Michigan University, which was communications and music. And I went to alternative certification here in Texas and got my teaching certification and taught music.
Wow.
And then I was, an adult. I could have insurance and a steady paycheck and not work in the summers.
Amazing.
And be in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Then I did get married. I had 2 kids. And my life really since then, I didn't have my first child until I was 32, and then my second one when I was 34. All the life up until then and all of the different successes, then your successes become family-oriented. It has been that way ever since. And just think that I'm really happy to live where I live. Thrilled with my 2 boys.
So there's a picture of you in your room. You're probably 28, 26?
Maybe.
28.
Mm-hmm.
It's a black and white photo. It's one of my favorite photos of you. Can you describe that girl in that picture?
I know I had an attitude.
What kind of attitude?
Go ahead, take my picture. I'm just waiting for you to do it. Not, I think I'm beautiful and take my picture. Just let's get this over with. But when I look at it now, I think, wow, you're just standing there and your hair is blowing in the wind. You appear to have a handle on life. You're ready to do the next thing. Certainly when you walk away, your steps are going to be strong. You're going to have something to say. But a picture is so different than how you feel inside. It might be something that 20-year-olds have, a lot of angst. I definitely did. I gave people a run for their money, meaning I seem to have an attitude of strength. Don't mess with me. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. But not in my heart. So interesting. So the picture is this juxtaposition because you look at it and you see strength. My head is back. The wind is in my hair. My eyes are looking right at the person taking the picture. In life we hear stories about actors and actresses and you find out, oh, they were really very lonely. But what you saw in the movie or saw them on stage looked like, gosh, I'd like to be like them. I had one of those types of lack of self-confidence, though it appeared that I was the person in the room with the most. Very, very interesting. It's like my whole life I've been having a fight with myself to just be who I am. I wish God, somebody, an angel, would have tapped me on the shoulder and say, you are who you are.
Do you know that now?
I'm still working on it, but I do have such a wide circle of friends from my whole life that say the most empowering things to me. They say that I'm strong, that I'm fierce, that I'm teaching people about endurance. Don't you know, when we talk about you, we all say how much we love you and how much you mean to us and how much hope you give us all, how much determination you have. You teach us every day. I think, gosh, I hope I am. That is what I would like to do. That is what I would like my purpose to be.
If that Stephanie in the black and white photo was sitting here right now, what do you think she would say to you? If you could take a picture together, what do you think she would say before you took the picture together?
Looks like you made it. Gee, did you really have to have so much pain? Look at you. You're great. You're going to be fine, just like always.
I love that. She seems very wise. Even our young selves can still teach us something. So I have one more thing that I'd like to ask. If you could tell your boys, what would you want to say to them so they can take from you from this moment and carry forward with them?
You are who you are. You are born to be who you are. You shouldn't be anything different than who you were born to be. I would like my boys to follow their natural tendencies of things that they love. Believe in who you are, because there's nobody like you. And this goes for everybody, not just my boys. Do what you're natural at. Be loving. And I do believe then happiness will follow you all the days of your life. That's what I've learned now that I'm in my 5th decade.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Amelia. Love you.
I love you too.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye for now.
And that's our show for today. Hope you'll join us again for our next episode of Shaping Sapiens, where I get to interview a guy from Mexico City who proves that you're really never too old to follow that dream of becoming a rock star. And until then, good night, good morning, good afternoon, wherever in the world you may be.